do this here and hit my participant list. And you can all put your hands down and then put your hands up again if you can share about the metaphor. All right? So hands up to share about silver lining. What is a silver lining? All right, I've got Lila.
So silver lining is when something bad happens, you can look for something positive in that situation.
I think that's a great start. That's a great start. Can anybody else share? I mean, does it just mean that you look for something positive? What is a silver lining? And think about where the metaphor comes from. Does anybody know where think about atmosphere, think about clouds, okay? And I'm gonna try to unmute all. So everybody who's muted needs to unmute themselves. That would be Bayram, Ian, Sarah. Okay, so who can tell me about how clouds are connected with silver lining? Any idea?
There's silver and there.
Wait, is somebody sharing? They have to raise their hand electronically so I can see who that is. I'm looking for a raised hand. I don't see a raised hand yet. Blake, raise your hand electronically so I know you know how to do it.
Okay.
Thank you. And if you could also sit up, that'd be great. Excellent. So I am looking for you to share now. Go for it.
Me?
Yeah, I think you were speaking, but I wanted you to raise your hand electronically so we do this in an orderly way. Go for it, buddy.
Well, because the cloud is silver.
But where does the silver lining come from though, guys? It starts with a dark cloud. Like, have you ever seen like a dark rain cloud? Okay, and then when the rain cloud bursts open, the cloud then looks like a silver lining around it, okay? And silver lining is exactly what Lila said. In every bad situation, when something great comes out of it, that is a silver lining. I actually can think of very few situations where there is no silver lining. I really cannot think of a situation. I mean, I can think of all the bad things that have happened in my life, and there aren't that many, but each time something really, really positive came out of it. Now, Ian, talk to me.
Please read A Series of Unfortunate Events. There's not much silver lining in that.
Oh, you know what? I've read it, and I'm gonna read it again. Tell me the kinds of things that happen, and if you can, if it's not too scary.
It would be kind of giving it away.
Oh, okay. So we don't want to give it away. So everybody go get that book and read it. Caroline, what do you think?
I haven't read Series of Unfortunate Events, but I've watched the show.
Oh, then you know.
I agree.
Okay.
There is just not silver lining, really.
And Sarah, have you watched the show also?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, maybe it would be really cool if you guys could actually read the book, like Ian said, because I think it would be really interesting. Now,
I'm on book 5 right now.
what is the major silver lining for you? And I want to ask for you personally. Everybody look at me in the eyes right now. Ian, what is the major silver lining for you that has come out of this COVID-19 pandemic? What has happened for you that is actually a positive thing? What have you been able to see positively? So, Bayram, we're going to start with you.
So I have, as you know, if you didn't know it, I am from Tunisia, and so because of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 thing, my mom decided to call some of her friends from Tunisia, and they had a son. Well, she has a son that was my best friend from Tunisia when I lived there. And so I talked to him for a bit, and I asked him if he had a Discord, which is another way of communication. And he said, yeah. And so now we communicate a lot more. And if this wouldn't have happened, if this whole thing wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have gotten the idea of calling his mom because we would have been way too busy. And
Wow.
I wouldn't. And second of all, Discord, I only discovered it because my friend told me about it while we were in quarantine. And if we weren't in quarantine, I probably would have never found out about Discord. So
Well,
after,
I have Discord too.
You know, guys, listen to this. Barum, I
So I
think
just listened to two
so hold on. I think that connecting with old friends is one of the greatest things for me that have come out of COVID. I want to hear from everybody. Alexander, go for it.
Mine is the same as Byram. I get to communicate with my friends. I'm friends with this kid named Jasper, and he was in North Carolina. And the last time I saw him was like 5 years ago. But we just FaceTimed, and it was sort of, I got to see him again because I hadn't seen him for like 5 years.
Oh man, you are lucky people. How about you there, Blake?
Well, sure. Well, I think it's good for everybody because they get to spend more time with their family.
Guess what, guys? Blake hit the nail on the head. We are spending more time with our families than ever before. And man, our parents are pretty cool, aren't they? And they have been working really hard to make our lives much better. So you should be very, very happy about that. And Caroline, go.
I have pretty much the same as Blake's. I get to spend a lot more time with my sister and Ellie and my family, which is really nice.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And lastly, Ian, let's go with yours.
Well, air pollution has gone down so much. Like, I haven't been in a car for 53 days and counting.
Wait, you what?
I haven't been in a car for 53 days and counting.
Wow. Okay, I want
And your car battery would die.
I want everybody to listen to what Ian just
Yeah, my
said.
dad's car died.
Now listen-
My dad's car doesn't start anymore.
Well, you know what? That might not be a terrible thing. Now, everybody look at this, okay? The World Health Organization. By the way, there's somebody that's got noise in the background. It might be you, Claire. I'm not sure. The World Health Organization, okay, is the acronym is WHO, WHO. The World Health Organization has actually set a standard that if 1 cubic meter of air, everybody go like this and show me a cubic meter. Show me a meter wide, a meter long, and a meter high. Now, that is a lot of air. That is a lot of air. Now, in a cubic meter, if there are more than 200 micrograms of something called nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is a very toxic molecule that actually is caused by the emissions from our cars and from factories and from boats. It is nasty stuff. Now, I made over 200 little dots, but the micrograms are so tiny, okay? But what's happened is that people that have asthma, I don't know if you know anybody who has asthma. I know a few people.
Von Miller.
I do.
Yeah,
I
guys,
do.
they are breathing much better now than ever before, okay? But it starts there. Guys, people that now have better immunity and lower inflammation in their bodies because of lower pollution, they're able to fight off bacteria and microorganisms that cause disease. Now, the other thing is, you know all the crops that we grow for our food? You know,
Yeah.
fruits, vegetable,
Yeah.
wheat, corn, everything is growing at a much better level. The pollution does unbelievably bad things to the level of farming. The other thing is that it reduces the waste. All the things we have not been buying, all that waste that would have gone into landfills isn't happening anymore. Now, I want to also show you what 200 micrograms really looks like. Now, we're going to convert a microgram. We're going to convert a microgram to a meter. So 1 cubic centimeter. Everybody show me like this. This is about a centimeter. If you have a cubic centimeter, so it's a small cube, like kind of like it's hard to show you because of my virtual background. I apologize for that. So a cubic centimeter equals 1,000 micrograms. 1 cubic meter equals 1,000,000 cubic centimeters. Who can tell me why 1 cubic meter equals 1,000,000 cubic centimeters? How many centimeters is in a meter? Who can tell me that?
100.
100 centimeters. And who can tell me what is 100 times 100 times 100? Do not say it out loud. Do not say it out loud. Also, somebody's making a very loud noise on their end, like a clicking. So make sure you stop it. Maybe it's a pencil or something. What is 100 times 100 times 100? And that's going to give you the number of cubic centimeters in 1 cubic meter. And we're going to go with you, Lila.
It's 1,000,000.
And Bayram, do you agree?
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,000,000 as well because 100 times 100, 10,000, 10,000 times 100 is 1,000,000.
And
Yeah, chat that.
do you guys see the 6 zeros, guys? 100, 100, and 100 make 1,000,000. Now, 1,000,000 cubic centimeters times 1,000 micrograms, flag in equals what? Raise your hand electronically if you know what is one. Don't say it out loud. And Pete, do you know what it is? 1,000 times 1,000,000. Do you have that?
1 billion.
Oh my gosh, Pete, you totally nailed it. And by the way, somebody is making a really bad sound. Lila, I wonder if it's you, only because it's a yellow line around yours. So let's see if I mute you, if that goes away. Now, 1 billion micrograms in one of these. Now, here's what happens, guys.
Turns into
If there is more than 200 micrograms in 1 billion micrograms that make up a cubic meter, we call this unsafe air. Now, does anybody know what is 200 over 1 billion? Can anybody tell me? Pete? You had your hand up?
Oh, I did?
Oh, okay, from before. Guys, would we divide the top by 100 and the bottom by 100?
Oh, 100,000? Or
Well, it's 2 over something. A 1 followed by 7 zeros. Come on, guys.
10 million. 10 million.
2 over 10 million.
I thought that was a million.
And now, guys, who can tell me what is 2 over 10 million? Come on, we get to
20 million.
divide both by 2.
Oh,
Go.
never mind.
1 over what?
Sorry, my bad. No, I thought it was times.
And I'm going to try to unmute everybody here. A lot of people are muted and should be ready
And
to
background
share.
noise.
Go.
5 million?
Oh my God, that's it, guys. if there are more than 1 parts per 5 million in the air that is nitrogen dioxide, run the other way. Do not breathe that air. Now, I want to tell you about what's been going on worldwide, and this is pretty amazing. And Pete, your hand is up. Do you want to share?
It was from before.
Okay, good, good, good. Now, I want you guys to look at Wuhan, China. So Wuhan, China is where the pandemic began. And this is a picture of the nitrogen levels taken by a satellite. It's actually the European Space Station satellite. And it has dangerous, dangerous levels of nitrogen dioxide. 1 year later, what does it look like, everybody?
Better? It looks better. No
Wait,
nitrogen dioxide.
Zero.
It cleared out.
It's clear. This is the dirtiest city in the world from a pollution standpoint, and
Wait.
it has gone from dirty to clear.
Wait, what about the Singapore
Wow.
smog? What about
Well-
smog?
Let's talk about that. I want to look at China back in January of 2020. Beijing is right about here. Here's Wuhan. And the colors are really not very nice. Anything that's
And
greater,
then it's right in the middle of Hong Kong.
anything that's greater than 200 micrograms of nitrogen dioxide is harmful to your health.
How
Guys,
do you know how much is there?
because a satellite,
Magic.
listen to this,
take
a
picture.
satellite called Sentinel-5P was launched by the European Space Agency, which is just like NASA in the United States.
I know
And
that, but it's like how
I'm going
much?
to answer the question. It takes pictures of the Earth from the satellite that filters the nitrogen dioxide and detects levels of that. So Blake, does that make sense?
Yeah. Like
Okay. So,
we.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, in South Korea, where my dad lived about 60 years ago,
Where most of my
Okay.
family was.
they have lowered their NO2 levels by 54%. One of the
What?
biggest reductions in the world. Now look at this, guys. This is what South Korea looked like 4 months ago. And then a month later, it has really cleared up. And now 2 months later than that, it's almost completely clear.
Well,
Now-
how
Yeah,
do
go
they
ahead.
create nitrogen dioxide?
They don't create it. It's people use, they use cars, which burn fossil fuels. And when you burn a fossil fuel, it puts exhaust into the atmosphere, which has particles of NO2. Okay. By the way, boats do it also, and so do planes, and so do factories. All right. Now, I want to talk to you about Italy. Northern Italy has one of the worst pollution problems because of the Andes Mountains. I'm sorry, not the Andes. The Alps mountain range acts as a wall. The mountain range here, called the Alps, acts like a wall and traps all the pollution up against it. But
Can it
guess
go the
what?
other side? Can
Wait,
it go to
say
the
again?
other side? Can't it
Say
go
again.
to the other side?
Does the pollution go to the other side?
Yeah, can't it go to the other side?
But the problem is that the Alps are too tall for
No,
the
I know, but the other side.
well,
the whole
people
thing.
on the other side live in
The other
France
side of Italy.
and Germany, and they're a little bit better off because they don't have to have the emissions. But I will tell you that Germany is no picnic when it comes to their emissions. Now, if
There's
you
so
look
many
at this,
cars.
guys, a year later, the levels are way, way better. Now, this is the reason why I'm teaching this lesson this week. My son sent me a picture of the Himalaya mountains. Now I want you guys to look at this. Alana, I want you to look up at this, the Himalaya mountains. Now the Himalaya mountains are in northern India and go all the way through China, Nepal, and form what we know as what? Mount. Ava, say it.
Everest.
The Alps.
Oh, no, the Alps are in Europe, but this is where Mount Everest is, in the Himalayas. Now, you would not believe this, guys. I want you to really focus right now. You guys all looking at me right now, Lila, and everybody? Excellent, good. For 30 years, in most northern cities in India, no one could see the Himalayas.
Smog.
Nobody even
What are
knew
you-
where they lived. Guys, I'm gonna mute all for just a minute. No one even knew that they lived near the Himalaya mountains. They literally didn't know. In fact, this is what they saw. From Delhi, this is in a place called Delhi in India, one of the dirtiest cities. Look at the smog. You can't even see the sky. And this is what it looks like now. And Ian, you have your hand raised.
Smog is a cross between smoke and fog. I know that because I used to live in Singapore and I experienced it most days of summer.
Wow, that's
Quite
really,
bad.
really interesting. That's really, really interesting. I really like that connection. And I want you guys now to look at one more picture of France. So one of my favorite places in the world is Paris. And a year ago, Paris was very, very polluted.
Yeah.
So was Munich, Germany. Look at
I remember
Paris a year later and look at Munich a year later. Big, big difference. In Spain, Madrid and Barcelona, Madrid is almost clear. Barcelona is almost clear.
I used to
The
live in
world is really changing. Who wants to share? Bayram?
Yeah, I used to live in France, and I actually remember it being extremely polluted. There was also there all the time, especially in winter, actually, which is weird.
Yeah, yeah. Now, who can tell me right now what's going on in the United States? Who thinks they know if we have reduced our pollution or if we're still at the same levels? And I'm going to unmute Alexander, but yeah, go for it, Alexander.
A little bit. I think we're a little bit still high because we have all these companies like General Motors and Ford, and they're all those gas car companies, and not many people are really gonna buy a Tesla nowadays because some people will, but most people really like older cars, and older cars are gas cars, and gas cars create nitrogen.
Wow, that is absolutely correct. That was a great answer. And Caroline?
I think that it'll have like the tiniest bit, like it's almost clear, just a little bit of white.
All right, you guys ready, guys? This is where you live. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, wait, Pete, do you have something to add, buddy? Raise your hand electronically next time so I see you. Go for it.
I think it went down a lot because I'm also looking at some of these charts. And it looks like it went down.
Now, let me just answer you there for a second. Do you guys see the NASA Aurora satellite right here? It has a device on it called an ozone monitoring device. And what it does is it looks at NO2 levels. And this is a really nasty picture. This is where you live. This is where New York City is.
7.5.
New Jersey,
That's
and
7.5.
Long Island. I've
We're
never
on 10.
And do you understand, guys? Wait a minute. It's more than 10. And 10 what?
10 molecules
10 to
by the power of 15.
10 to the
power.
15th power.
Which, by the way, nobody call it out. Can anybody tell me what 10 to the 15th power is? Do not call it out, please. Do not call it out. You can send me a chat with it, and I'll write out the number, but I'm looking for the name of that number. The name of that number. 10 of these or more, actually 5 or more, are actually not healthy at all. So I've got, okay, Blake, you got close. Lila, you got close. All right, take a journey with me, guys. Are you ready? Million. Come on. Billion. Oh, wait a minute. Let me unmute you. Million.
Million, billion,
Trillion.
trillion,
10
And
trillion.
Quadrillion.
not quin. Quad.
Quadrillion.
So 1 quadrillion times
I was
10
so
or
close.
more, that's what's going on in New York. Now, we in Boston are not that bad, but not that good. And everybody, remember what Pete said? Remember Pete said that things are getting better, and so did Caroline?
Oh,
We
wow.
have reduced our levels by 30%. So Boston,
Not
guys,
in
look at
that
us
particular
right now.
area.
Boston is almost clear. Does somebody want to add something else? Go ahead, Pete.
I thought New York would be down
Go ahead,
a
Pete.
lot more. I thought New York would be down more because like
Hold on a second. I'm going to unmute Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
I think New York would be down a lot more because like that's one of the hot spots in the world. But I mean, it still went down a lot. But
Well, I will
thought
tell
it
you
would be down
something.
a little
New
more.
York has been down 25%. But
it
if you
says
look at,
that on this chart.
right, if you look at all the different cities, they've gone down an average of 30%. So Washington, D.C., which is where? Washington, D.C. is between what? Maryland, Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, okay? And Boston and New York City have all experienced a 30% reduction. Now, I want you guys to go right now to page 6 in your packet. And I want you to look at the top of page 6. It's kind of interesting to me to look at this and to look at all the cities and the reduction of their NO2 levels. Does anybody see something that bothers you on this list? So I want you guys to please raise your hand electronically if there's something that really bothers you. Lila, talk to me.
It says that Rome went up 30%.
Yeah, guys, how in the world is it possible for Rome to be the only major city to go up by 30%? And Ian, what do you think?
Well, I saw on one of the pages that people were using their heating more.
Yeah, well, okay, guys, it's my theory. I'm not sure if that's correct. I have a theory that when it's cold outside, Rome had a very cold winter, and that when people that are never inside, and people in Rome are always out and about, they're always out and about. When they're quarantined in their houses and it's cold outside, they're going to use a lot of heat, and heat generates a lot of NO2. So I think it's really important. Ava, do you have something to share?
no.
Oh, okay, I thought you were raising your hand.
Wait, I have a question. Okay, I have a
Yeah,
question.
who is that? Barham or
Yeah,
Blake?
me.
Yeah, go ahead, Barham.
So, what on that page under it, like it's under it, like the major global city thing that says that shade and pollution thing. Yeah, what is that? Like, I don't really know.
Well, let me explain that right now. Everybody go there, and anybody, can you choose a city? Can you guys choose a city? Blake, go ahead, choose a city.
I know why it's colored in. It's the pollution left.
Well, the
the pollution left.
69% is the pollution left
Oh, yeah.
after
That's the reduction.
That makes sense.
31% is taken away. So
Yeah, that's what I
let's-
meant.
Let's all, and Blake, you're absolutely correct. Let's all shade in New York right now. We're going to shade in 10% and 10% in 2 boxes.
I thought it was 25.
And
Yeah,
then
so that's 20.
another 5%, which is half of 10%. And what we can do is we can write out 5 plus 10 plus 10. And then we can say, hey, what's going on with the remaining pollution? So if New York has reduced by 25%, what is the complement of 25%? The complement of 31% is 69%. Everybody say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Complement. Go.
75.
Awesome. What is the complement of Sao Paulo? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Go.
67.
67%.
Wait, how do we do Rome?
Well, we're going to do that in a second. What about the pollution remaining in London?
Oh, you
On
you
3.
add 30 boxes.
1,
You
2,
add 3
3,
boxes.
go.
91.
91.
91%. Now we're going to wait on Rome. Let's do Madrid. What pollution is remaining in Madrid? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
89%.
89. Do not say it out loud. Now, wait till I say 1, 2, 3. In Delhi, one of the greatest reductions in the history of mankind. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
40.
40% remaining. Mumbai, go. Come on.
64.
66%. Wuhan, amount remaining. Go.
56.
Wow.
60.
Awesome.
I mean,
And-
56.
And Seoul, Korea. Go.
46.
And 46. Now, you guys can have some fun doing this, but I really want to show you. I
know what Rome is.
Let's talk about Rome. Now, if you have any ideas, raise your hand electronically to give me your ideas about Rome. And I'm going to choose somebody that hasn't shared today. And Claire, Alana, Sarah, Ava, I'd really like you to share. And one of you sort of raise your hand if you would and share with me how you'd like to deal with Rome. I'm going to pick Claire.
Maybe you could add 30 squares.
You want to add 30 squares.
Would that even fit on the page?
Well, 3.
3 squares. Guys, what do you guys think about her idea?
I
You like
think it's
that?
amazing.
And Ava, what percentage now of the pollution is remaining in Rome? This is for Ava.
130.
This is
Oh,
for
sorry.
Ava. For Ava. Bayram, look at me in the eyes.
Sorry, my bad.
Bayram, this is for Ava. Go ahead, Ava.
What is remaining?
What is remaining after Rome's pollution increases by 30%?
130.
130% is remaining. And that is a scary, scary thing. Now, I'm going to teach you something right now, which I think you're going to enjoy. I have in front of you a circle, and I broke up that circle into 10 equal pieces to represent 10% each. Each one, by the way, is called a sector. Next time you guys are out having dinner, and somebody says, hey, are you going to have that pizza? You can say, oh, hey, are you going to have that sector? Because a piece of pizza is in the shape of a sector. Take 360 degrees, divide it by 10, and what do you get?
36.
And 36 degrees represents each tenth. Now, can anybody tell me how I was able to draw such beautifully lined up tenths? It's not easy to break up things into tenths. It is not easy. Can anybody tell me what I did? What was my method? And I'm going to go with Lila.
You made
So first you divide it, so you do diagonal line, the diagonal, actually the line that's horizontal like the equator.
Okay, good. So make the equator.
you make a circle.
Then you would have to divide each side up into fifths, but you should do these two diagonal lines that make like the first fifths, like right that, yeah,
Like from here to
That-
here,
and the other one.
and from here,
Wait.
and from there.
Did we draw
Yeah.
that on here?
Oh yeah, you're gonna do it. You're
Wait,
gonna,
Mr. Kramer, I have a
hold
question.
on, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna answer your question in a second. I want to show you that Mr. Kramer cheated. You ready? Here's what I did. I superimposed a regular decagon on top of the circle, making it really, really easy. Now, I know that cheating is not a good thing, but
There's crust.
I want everybody right now to go to page 8 and then bear in mind to
7.
answer your
7.
question.
It's
And-
7.
So
This is not
what-
page 8.
it's on page 6. It's back on page 6. Sorry. Is that
This
okay?
is page 6.
No,
it's back on page 6. My question.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What was your question?
My question is, how are we supposed to? We're gonna have to write really, really small, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to read it, or even somebody's gonna be able to read it on the deli one, because we have to write 40% pollution remaining, and that's a pretty long sentence for 4 squares.
You know what? I think you're right. I would just say 40% of PR, pollution remaining, and I think that that might be a good fix for that. So everybody's on page 8 right now, okay? And I want you to go to Sao Paulo. Go to Sao Paulo, and that's in Brazil, but don't actually go there. Now, I want you to draw a vertical line,
What does vertical up and down?
and the vertical line has to be a diameter, which means that you have to also draw a little center. And I want everybody now to look at this semicircle. As Lila said, split the semicircle into 5 equal parts about putting 4 dots equally spaced. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are those pretty equally spaced, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Now take a ruler and go directly across the center to the other side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we gotta do that.
And what's really cool about this, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's pretty good representation of tenths.
Ones to the middle.
And if anybody wants to show me their work, I'd be really interested to see.
Oh, how do we do Rome? How do we do
Oh,
Rome?
I am really interested, Blake, into how you deal with Rome. I
Let's just
found
add
it,
three pizza slices.
can you say sectors?
Sectors.
Because I don't want you to say pizza because you're going to get me very hungry. And yes, that is the way I handled it. Now, guys, did I just shade in 33% of Sao Paulo?
No, you played 30, just 30.
Okay,
30.
how much more do I need, guys?
3%.
No, you don't. Yeah.
A third of a tenth, which is 3%. Now I want everybody to write in. I want everybody to write in right now. 36 degrees.
Ooh, mine is pretty low.
36
Like mine is really bad.
degrees. And Bayram, raise your hand electronically before you speak, okay? So 36 degrees. And who can tell me what is a third of 36? If you can flag in on this one, if you can raise your hand electronically. What is a third of 36? Who's got that? Who's got that? On 3, 1, 2, 3, go.
12.
12.
And if you said 12 degrees, here's what you now have to do, guys. Take 36 and add it to 36 and 36 and then to 12. Don't anyone say it out loud. Can you help me add 3 6s, please? Go.
18,
18.
Plus 2 is?
20.
20.
Carry the 2 in the tens column, and what do we get?
A number.
Come on.
12.
You get, therefore, what do we
120.
get? So Sao Paulo has a reduction of 120 degrees of their pollution.
Pizza.
Now, I'm really interested. You can do whichever one you want. And it's not easy to do because you have to add 36 and then you have to make a little estimate on the remaining piece. So I want you to raise your hand if you have a question. Lila, do you have a question about this?
Oh, no, I was just answering the other
Oh,
ones.
okay. So you guys choose one to do on your own, or 2 or 3 or 4, and then ask a really good question. Say, Mr. Kramer, I'm working on London and I'm having a little problem. So I want you to ask great questions. That's your job. I'm looking for raised hands to say, Kramer, help, and let's do this together.
Sweetie Petey.
Sarah, do you have a question? Is that a yes?
No.
Okay, but it's okay if you have one, because I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, now you're really cheating.
Oh, big time. And that's so I can write these numbers in. Okay, so now I have to do my highlighter. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy using highlighters.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're a lot of fun. Gosh, I don't know what to do about Rome. I kind of like what Blake said, though. He kind of said, hey, Kramer, let's add 30% of a circle. Or 30% of a circle. I don't know if that does it, but that might be a good start. Madrid is 11. Oh, Claire. Go for it, Claire.
I'm doing London. I shaded it in, but how much percent is it?
Well, maybe the best way for me to answer your question is to say, what do you think a tenth of 36 is? Approximately. Doesn't have to be exact. You know that one sector is 36 degrees. So if you cut off a tenth of that, is it around what, or between what and what? What do you think, Claire? And Claire, think of this. What is a tenth of 40? Because 40 is pretty close to
4.
4. What is a tenth of 30?
3.
3, right? So 10 and 10. So if you go back there, you say, let me take one of those away from 36. And I think that would give you a really good estimate. And Claire, let me tell you one other thing. If you want the exact number, look at 36 and put a decimal in between. And 3.6 is the actual. So if you took 3.6 away from 36, you would get the actual degree measurement. But Claire, I really love your question. By the way, anybody who's working on Madrid can use the same mathematics that we just used on London. But instead of subtracting it, you would have to add it to 36 degrees. You know, guys, I actually told my wife that I never wanted to travel to India because I was worried about the pollution. And now I'm actually thinking that I want to go. So this has really changed my perspective on the world quite a bit. Quite a
I've
bit.
lived in a country with smog for 5 years.
And so I'm wondering, so Singapore, is it just there are so many factories there? Is that it, Ian?
No, it's Indonesian burning down forest, I think.
Ooh. Wow. So it's not even Singapore that
Yeah,
creates it, it's a neighboring country.
yeah.
Wow. That is not good. That is not good. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Any problems that you're having? Because I had 5th graders that had a lot of questions here. This was not easy work. And Seoul has soul, doesn't it? I've never been to South Korea, and so maybe this is the time to go. You know, Bayram, I'd love for you to find out from your friend how the pollution is in Tunisia right now, and if it's improved, you know, since the pandemic. I'd be really interested in that.
Oh no, I think it's been going way better actually. I've been checking on it not only through these charts, but through asking him how's Tunisia doing. He said on the outside doing great. Yeah, definitely. Like he said that how the pollution has decreased a lot.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey guys, I need a little help here on Seoul. Can you guys stop for just a minute, please, and look at my screen? I know that I have 5 36s. Can anybody give me an algorithm for multiplying 36 by 5? I don't want the answer right away. I would just more like how you think about multiplying by 5. There are 2 ways, actually there are about 8 ways to approach it, but I'd really like to know if anybody has a special methodology. Lila, why don't you share yours?
I just multiply it by 10, then cut it in half.
So you take 36 and tack on a 0, and then you cut it in half.
Yeah,
And what do you get?
same.
I got 180.
Now, can I give you a little bit of an easier way to do it? Lila and company? Everybody look up, please.
No,
Claire?
I
If you take the number 36 and cut that in half first, when you get 18, and then you multiply that by 10. And that's going to give you the exact same answer. It might just be easier for us to think about 36 divided by 2. How about you, Blake?
well, I do 5 times 7 plus 1.
5 times 7 plus 1. Explain that to me, please.
Well, 5 times 7 is 35 plus 1.
Is 36. That's good, but how does that help you with 5 times 36? Give me your thought process.
Oh, 5 times 36. I thought it was 5, multiplying 5 to somehow to get 36.
All right, cool, cool. But I mean, by the way, you could use a lot of different methods here. And by the way, do you guys see how I estimated 14 degrees, which was equal to 4%? All right. So what do I get then? 180 plus 14 is what, guys? 100 and help me? 100 and...
But isn't a 4%? Never mind.
Well, it's 4% of the total, or 40% of 36.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, actually, guys, 4% of, 40% of 36. How many of you could multiply 36 by 4? Double. Double 36, what do you get?
72.
74. Or 72.
Double 72, go.
You get 144.
And take 144 and then understand that it's
288.
14.4 is exactly 40% of 36. So when I estimated 14, that was a pretty close estimate. Now, can anybody share one that they've done and what their total was? Who can share? How about you, Alana? You want to share one? Any that you would want to share? You pick any city, and we can go over it together. All right. So guys, Pete, how about you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
All right. I did Mumbai, and I got 120.5.
120.5 degrees, and you did 3 36s, correct?
Yeah.
Which I get 108. And then this piece, which we now know is 14.4, correct? And Pete, what did you get?
I got 120. Now when I look at
Wow. Well, guess what, guys? Anybody who gets within 10 degrees of the actual number, I would say is really, really rocking. And everybody take a quick look at my answer key. A quick look, but not a really long look. That's a quick look at the answer key. And I gave you actual numbers that you could test your estimates up against. Now, lastly, we're out of time, guys, but I gave you another 4 pages showing you where the air quality index has gone down, which is a good thing, in most of the cities in India. Look at Delhi. Delhi has gone from 192, which is really, really bad, down to 117, which is still bad, but way, way better. So you could actually do the differences using subtraction. All right, everybody, let's go back to the Himalayas and let us take a journey. If I which world do you want to be in? Do you want to be in the old world or the new world?
New.
No.
No.
Smog.
The new world.
Smog.
The numbers
Boo,
are saying
smog.
0,
Smog.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Doo-doo,
Yay. Mathlete. Mathlete.
Oh,
Oh,
Netflix.
everybody say goodbye to your beautiful friends.
Oh, yeah.
Say goodbye to your
Bye,
friends.
Alexander. See you tomorrow.
Byron, what's your Discord? Can you send a Discord invite?
What's the Discord? What's the Discord? Somebody send me.
My Discord. Wait, let me send you. I'll send you my Discord account in the chat. In the
Bye.
chat. Okay.
All right, buddy. See you later.
Can you
Okay,
public
bye.
chat, Mr. Kramer?
What's that, buddy?
Public chat. Can you turn on chat to everyone for a second?
Yeah, but I have to leave the meeting, guys, because I have another
Okay.
group. And by the
Oh,
way,
it's okay.
that is so cool what you just made. Awesome.